This is what Albert Park looks like right now, and this is what it looks like when there's not a Formula 1 race going on. Today I'm here at Albert Park. I'm standing on the F1 track, and we're going to take a look at what it looks like when there's not a Formula 1 race going on. Let's get into it. So right now I'm standing at the pit entrance, so that's the final turn there, and then this is where they come into the pits right here, and all the markings are still here. There is a gate that's blocking the pit entry for cars, but you can still walk through there. So here we go, down the pit straight. As you can see, there's some futsal courts on the side here, because this is actually a sports precinct when the F1 is not on. So we have futsal courts here, and then basketball courts just before we get to the garages. Down pit lane, and all the garages are here. This is a permanent facility here, and if we come in to one of the pit boxes, as you can see, all the pit boxes are still marked from when the actual race was on earlier this year. So we're in July now, the race was in April, so it's 3 months since the race, and these have just stayed here, and you can see where the teams have marked front axle there, and then they have their measurements on the side here, and this is all the way down the pit lane. So cars don't have access down the pit lane, but you can walk down here or ride a scooter down here, and check this out. So we're at one of the pit boxes now. This is the last one before the pit exit. So this would have been Haas's, because they finished last year, and this pit's are always in constructor's order. So as you can see, we have all the markings here, and these are the garages. So these would be up. This is where the teams would work on their cars, and then up there, I'd say there'd be some viewing suites. Very nice view of the main straight down here. Speaking of the main straight, when there's not a race going on, all this is parking down the main straight. And if we come and look over here, we can still see some of the remnants of where the drivers line up. So right there, that is pole position. This is public road, so I have to be careful. But this would have been pole position right here. There's the finish line. And when there's not a race on, they actually have chicanes that cars have to go through down the straight, because this is a very straight road and people would be encouraged to speed down here. So that's for safety reasons. All right, so here we are on the pit exit now, heading up to turn 1. This would all be fenced off here, and grandstands behind it during an actual race. But right now, they're actually sports fields there. So that's where the grandstands go when there isn't a race on. So we're heading down now to turn 1. All right, here we go now, approaching turn 1. And as you can see, that's the F1 track, and that's the normal road. So you can see the difference there between, you know, when this was paved and when this was paved. Obviously, the F1 circuit gets paved much more regularly to keep a good surface for the race. That is the curb, all right? So that's what it looks like. I think the actual curb has been removed, and this is what it looks like under it. And then also we have the AstroTurf there. So this is all pretty permanent right here. And then obviously that is, I think it's grass when the race is on, probably some gravel in some areas as well. So this all would have to be relaid after the event, which is crazy. So the event was only 3 months ago, and it's already looking pretty much back to normal. So we're heading down now on the rundown to turn 3. This is a flat out section for the drivers during the race. This is where Fernando Alonso and Gutierrez would have come together before Alonso had that monster crash in 2016. And I'll show you where he would have ended up further down here. That is the sporting complex that the track is right next to. As we come down here up to turn 3. So Alonso, Gutierrez would have come together around here. There's obviously normally walls lining this, but at the moment, obviously they're all taken away. So here we are at turn 3. There's the curb, there's the car park for the car park section. We'll go to that in a minute. But right here is where Alonso would have ended up down there. There would have been all gravel there during the race. But right now, you know, it looks very different. Like, you wouldn't even tell that, you know, an F1 event had been held here, and that a car would have ended up literally right over there. Okay, so we're approaching the car park section. Cars can't actually follow the exact same track as the F1 users. Obviously, there's these little barricades that we have to navigate here, so a car can't actually come down there and follow the track exactly. They have to go up there. But now we're in the car park section. Obviously, you can see it's obviously just a normal car park. So when the track is not being used for Formula One, a bunch of cars park here, and you can see the difference between the track and the normal road here. Yeah, it's pretty obvious to follow the track because it's a much darker coloured asphalt. And same thing here, you can't get out of the car park with a car either because it is once again closed off. Heading up to turn 5 here, we got to be careful, cars coming. But yeah, here we go around turn 5. And this road actually just leads down to a car park. So once again, if you're in a car, you can't follow the track entirely. But obviously there's the curb there still. So you can see we're definitely on the track, but it looks completely different. Obviously, really high fences here, where, you know, debris and stuff can't go into the crowd. That's obviously the sports centre once again. Looks like a running track right there. So during the race, this is the track, and obviously they have these curbs. So these curbs would have to be removed every year when they host the race here. So that's crazy. More car parking down here along the side of the track before we head down to turn 6 and 7 to get back onto the main long straight down the back side of Albert Park. Down onto the straight now. Once again, we have another curb here. No green and gold, it's just the green underneath part. So the curb is obviously put on top of that during the event. And once again, the fake grass there. So this is probably the most iconic part of this track. You can tell all the lines on the road, they are there during the event. And then there is obviously the lake itself, lined with all these palm trees. It's very nice, and especially in the afternoon when the sun's setting, it looks wonderful. So this is where they have grandstands and whatnot down here. As you can see, the grass is already cut. So to the left of us is actually a golf course. So yeah, you really get the feeling that this is a very, it's definitely a sports facility around the track here. As we head down onto the old chicane. So here we go, this is the old chicane that used to be here that they removed the 2022 Grand Prix. So this is where the drivers used to have to come, take a curb out there, and then head back onto the straight. But that's obviously removed now to encourage overtaking down towards the heavier braking zones down there. But now this is just a patch of asphalt that doesn't get used anymore. Which is kind of sad, all the iconic moments down into the chicane, and now it's just a forgotten piece of road. So this is one of the most iconic sections of the track. Beautiful palm trees against the lake backdrop, and then you have cars racing down here. Yeah, that's always an awesome shot during the Grand Prix. The cars racing down here past the palm trees, past the lake. Always looks beautiful. Okay, so here we are approaching turns 11 and 12, the very fast corners down here. Pretty much full throttle the whole time, and there's a curve from that. And this is where Carlos Sainz binned it in the 2022 Grand Prix. So he went over that grass and then went across the track again and ended up somewhere over here. Whenever I play the F1 game, it's probably my favourite section of Albert Park, purely because of how fast it is. So that's where Carlos Sainz would have comes across this part of the track right here and ended up just about there on the grass. So we continue heading down this straight down to the last couple of corners before we're back to the pit lane. And yeah, this is a classic main road right there. There's the lake again. This would all, be covered with high walls during the Grand Prix. And I just think they probably have to remove each and every one of these little fence posts when the Grand Prix event is actually on. Just think about how long that would take and all the resources that they would need to host this race. And that's why it's so expensive for these countries to host these types of events, just because of all the prep work that has to go in to making the track and hosting the events. So Albert Park has a contract till 2035 now, which I think we're very lucky to have as we approach this corner. down. Here's the curbing once again. So yeah, this is a lovely picnic spot down here. Yeah, so here we are, one of the last corners that would probably use as an escape road during the event. As we round this corner, yeah, so all the resources and all the, you know, time and money that goes into hosting this, you know, we're so lucky to be able to have, you know, this track on our calendar until 2035. You know, a lot of people are saying, you know, Albert Park, you know, it's not as good as Adelaide or whatever, and you know, it's not usually a good race, but it's on the calendar until 2035. And personally, I think it's a fantastic track. Not every race is going to be extremely exciting in Formula One, and Australia obviously has a contract till 2035. You know, Spa, one of the most iconic tracks in Formula One, may not even be on the calendar next year, so we're extremely lucky to have this track on our calendar as we come back towards the final corner. There's the pit entrance once again as we round the final corner here onto the main straight, and that is what Albert Park looks like when a Formula One race is not on. As you can see, you wouldn't even tell that this is a racetrack if you didn't know, other than, you know, the pit lane and the start finish line. But yeah, this is just a sports facility. You know, a bunch of different activities you can do here when the race is not on. And when the race is on, it is a fantastic party atmosphere, and you know, it's not an event that you would want to miss. So guys, thanks for watching the video. Thanks for coming along with me around Albert Park as we take a look at what it looks like without a race on. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.